بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Dear viewers, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All honor is mine to be able to be amongst you, and I really appreciate following this series, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and I in learning from the holy verses of Quran and to be able to bring these verses inshallah into our lives. If you have followed us, you know that we have reached verse 4 of Surah Al-Baqarah. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Those pious people, where the Quran will be guidance for them, had characteristics. We discussed 2-3 of them in the previous episodes. We're discussing the other 3 in this episode and inshallah in the next episode. But Allah says those pious people where Quran is guidance for them, their characteristics are 1, 2, 3, 4, and they believe in what has been sent down to you and what was sent down before you, and are certain of the hereafter. If you remember and followed our previous episode, we said that we are in need of prophets. We discussed that our senses and our intellect are tools and equipment that we can use to find the right path. But our senses and our desires makes mistakes. We need our intellect above that. But sometimes we see our intellect also makes mistakes. We see, as we mentioned in the previous episode, there are scientists and there are ideologists and there are theorists who come up with ideology and theories, but unfortunately within the next year, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 10 years, 5 years after that, either they themselves debunk their own ideology, or someone else comes and come up with better ideology of how to run the government, how to our society should be running, about psychology, about biology, and so on and so forth. So intellect by itself is not sufficient either. We are in need of the Prophet to do what? لِيُثِيرُوا لَهُمْ دَفَائِنَ الْعُقُولِ. Prophets are sent. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam states that Allah has sent the prophets to do what? For the prophets to awaken and to bring that intellect back alive, the intellect that has been put into sleep by the wrong upbringing, by the wrong education system, by the wrong environment. Well, the prophets come and they awaken them and they show them the path. This is the way that you should use your mind, your intellect. Intellect is for your usage. Intellect will take you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will come, and this intellect, which is a light, but unfortunately, again, the system, the educational system, the upbringing, the wrong upbringing of the parents, and the environment, and many other elements, this intellect has been turned off by them. Prophets come, they turn it on, they say, okay, it's been turned on, you can see the path right now. Amongst the many paths, you need a map. Here's the map, here's the path. And as we believe, the one path, the only path that gets us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, which we discussed it in the Surah Al-Hamd when we discussed Ihdina as-Sirat al-Mustaqim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لقد أرسلنا رسلنا بالبينات وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. Chapter 57, verse 25. Allah says, certainly we sent our apostles with manifest proofs, and we sent down with them the book and the balance, so that mankind may maintain justice. A believer, a pious believer, is the person who believes بما أنزل إليك, O Rasulullah. Those pious people where Quran is guidance for them, they believe in what has been sent down upon you. So it is very important for us to see that some interpretators argue that our usul al-din, it's 3. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب, those who believe in unseen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tawheed. And يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك من ربك, and they believe in the Prophet and what has been sent down. And وبالآخرة هم يوقنون, and they believe in hereafter, and believe in hereafter is certain in them. There are 3 usul al-din: adl, is part of Tawheed. Justice of Allah is part of Tawheed. Imamah is part and it's continuation of prophethood, except that Imam doesn't bring a new religion and he comes and he is the successor to the Holy Prophet. So it is very important for us to completely, and we should not exclude anything that has been sent down upon the Prophet. Unfortunately, throughout my journey to different states, to different provinces, to different countries where I go, and I meet the youth and adults, men and women, they come up and they say, well, religion of Islam is good, but it has such and such, this haram or this halal, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't go with my rationale. This is the 21st century. Is this still haram in the 21st century? Is it possible? Maybe this law was for 1400 years ago. It doesn't apply to us this day and age. We have to reform the religion. We have to come up with some ideas within the religion that matches the 21st century. This is not the characteristics of a pious individual. Muttaqeen, pious individual, are those who believe completely. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ. Pious people are those who believe in what has been sent down to you, O Prophet. How? How can we test our iman, our belief? How can we test it? Chapter 4, verse 65. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لا يؤمنون حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في أنفسهم حرجا مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. O Prophet, but no, by your Lord they do not believe in reality until they make you a judge. For us to be a true believer, basically, we go to the Prophet. They make you a judge of that which has become a matter of disagreement among them, and then do not find any resistance in their heart as to what you have decided, and submit with entire submission. Let me explain. Prophet is there. You and I, for example, we have an argument, or two people. Inshallah, you and I would never have an argument. Two people, Mr. A and Mr. B. They have an argument about some affair, some matter, some dispute amongst themselves. They go to the Prophet as a judge. They don't go anywhere else. When there's a dispute, they come and they make you a judge. They come to the religion. They come to the founder of the religion, Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. And when they come there, Rasulullah will be the judge. He will give a ruling. Mr. A is right and Mr. B is wrong. Or 50% is Mr. A from this dispute. For example, there's $1,000. Each one says $1,000 is mine out of this business or out of this transaction. Rasulullah says, for example, either Mr. A gets all the $1,000 and Mr. B gets nothing, or Mr. B gets the $1,000 and the other one gets nothing, Mr. A, or both of them will get 50-50, 500 and 500. At that point, when they do not find any resistance in their heart as to what you have decided, and submit with entire submission, then they are a believer. So let me look at myself. When I have a dispute, wife and a husband has a dispute, parents and kids have a dispute, partners, business partners have a dispute, community members have disputes, brothers and sisters have a dispute, and you name it. Where they will go first? Will they go to the law of the land, or will they come to the Islam and Deen and see what Islam and Deen has prescribed for them, what they have to do? Unfortunately, we see in some of the cases, or majority of the cases of divorce in the Western countries, as soon as they decide to do divorce, they go to the court, and each one wants to take more from one another. Each one wants to rip apart the other one, take more from the other one, and they go and they have a very nasty divorce. Why? Islam says, this is your mahr, this is your dowry. If you decide to divorce husband, even before that, as soon as the marriage is done, the dowry must be paid in full. And if you guys divorce, this is how much he has to pay for the kids, for the wife. All the numbers are there and the equations are there within the religion. As far as business is concerned, business partner, if they decide to go away, how they should split the money. If one tries to sell one thing, for example, it's called shufa'ah or shuf'ah. There are two partners, they have a land. One wants to sell his part. The other one, can he buy it from him? Can the first one go and sell it by himself and do not call the first one to? And all the equations are there. Religion of Islam is a complete religion. For every aspect of our life, it has a teaching, it has a prescription, it has a solution. But unfortunately, when we get into our problems, we completely put the religion aside. We get deep and deep and deep into our problems. When we find nowhere else, after we've been paying monies to lawyers and judges and courts and so on and so forth, we're completely broke. Okay, let's go and find some dua and read some dua for us, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resolve our issues. No. We believe in the religion of Islam and what has been sent down upon the Prophet, and the Prophet as a judge and no one else in the middle. Completely, and surrendering ourselves to Rasulullah, what has sent down to him and what he has preached. For example, on the day of Eid al-Ghadir, a person comes after the Holy Prophet has appointed Amir al-Mu'mineen, the commander of the faithful, as the Khalifa. A person comes, he says, is this from you or from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has appointed young Amir al-Mu'mineen as the Khalifa? Rasulullah says, nothing is from me, everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, if this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have him send a punishment for me. As soon as he leaves the tent, a stone has been thrown from the heaven, gets into his head, hits him in the head, and comes out of his rear. And he dies on spot. سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. You can read the verse and the interpretation of it. So let me see myself. Some people I go and they say, Khums. Who said Khums is wajib? Khums is not wajib. Khums is about when we go to a holy war and we have ghanima, because the Quran says ghanima. What do I know about the meaning of ghanima? Have I read the interpretations of the verses of the Holy Quran? Have I read the hadith and the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam about this holy verse? And zakat, music. Sheikh, find me one word in the Quran that says ghana and music is haram. Do you know Quran? Do you know its interpretation? Do you know these verses? Hijab, and you name it. So let me diagnose myself and find out which part of the religion I have doubt in, which part of religion I'm not convinced, which part of religion I still have question mark and I don't believe in it. In that case, I'm not pious. In that case, Quran is not guidance for me, because as we said, Quran is guidance for the pious people. The pious people are those who have these 5-6 characteristics. One of them is that they believe in what has been sent down upon the Holy Prophet completely. They don't take some part. نؤمن ببعض ونكفر ببعض. They say that we believe in some and they don't believe in something else. They take the whole religion of Islam completely. So some say, I don't think what has been said forbidden is forbidden, or what has been said is obligatory is obligatory. Khums, who said is wajib? Zakat, who said is wajib? Music, who said is haram? Hijab, who said is wajib? Hajj, who said is wajib? And we start questioning the religion. Questioning, for us to find the answer, no problem with that. We must ask scholars, ask different people, read the books, those who are in the field of Islam, those who are knowledgeable, those who have studied 10, 15 years within seminaries and they have gained to their limit knowledge of Quran, Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Not we find some academics which hasn't studied at all within the seminary and he only has academic. We're not putting them down at all. No, in order for us to learn Quran, we have to attend the seminaries and the seminary studies and seminary mindsets and sarf and nahu and logic and balagha and so on and so forth, for us to little bit understand more. If I have always attended academic fields and I have only read English books about Islam and I come and I call myself Islamic teacher and people come and ask me, well, do I know the sarf and nah behind it? Do I know the logic behind it? Do I know the other hadith about it? What do I know all the hadith and interpretation? Was this for a specific time? And so on and so forth. So, number one, we are in need of the prophets. Why? Because as we mentioned, our senses and our desires are not enough. Our intellect comes and supervises them. Our intellect is not enough. We need above that. So we believe in the Prophet, Prophet Muhammad, and وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ وما أنزل والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك. We must, as a Muslim, we must believe in the prophets, all the prophets, 124,000 prophets. We know about 25 to 30 names of them, let's say 50 names of the prophets for the sake of argument, but 25 to 27 of them, if I remember correctly, their name has been mentioned within the Holy Quran and the rest of them within a hadith. Let's say 50. The rest we don't know of them, we don't know their names, but according to our narrations, some narrations, we had 124,000. We believe in them all. Why? Because they all had the same mission. They had the same aqeedah, same belief. Even though some of their sharia, some of their laws were different. The law that was sent down upon Israelites was different. When Prophet Isa ala nabina alayhi salam came in chapter 3 verse 50, he says, I came to do what? وَلُأَحِلَّ لَكُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي حُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَجِئْتُكُمْ بِآيَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونَ. And to make lawful for you some of the things that were forbidden for you, and I have brought you a sign from your Lord. So be wary of Allah and obey me. Aqeedah Prophet Musa, Prophet Isa, Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Nuh, Prophet Sulaiman, Prophet Ibrahim, all the prophets, all the 124,000 prophets, they had the same aqeedah of believing in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for people to believe in the Prophet and believing in the Day of Judgment. So believing in one and believing in all. لا نفرق بين أحد منهم. We don't say, okay, this is, we believe this one, we don't believe. If we don't believe in one of them, that is shirk, that is kufr. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 4, verse 150, إن الذين يكفرون بالله ورسله ويريدون أن يفرقوا بين الله ورسله ويقولون نؤمن ببعض ونكفر ببعض ويريدون أن يتخذوا بين ذلك سبيلا. Those who disbelieve in Allah and His apostle and seek to separate Allah from His apostle and say we believe in some and disbelieve in some and seek to take away in between. This is kufr. We don't do that. We believe in them all. And inshallah, the rest of the discussion about this verse, inshallah, in the next episode, we conclude with the most important dua as always, and that will be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the appearance of our beloved Imam Mahdi, Ajalallah ta'ala faraju sharif. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.